What do you do when a client drops into an origin story in your coaching session? How can you work with them while staying in the coaching paradigm and not drop into counselling or therapy? In this episode, I'm going to show you one way that I try to do that and hope that it's useful to you. You know, I just love that in our profession, there are these women in our sector that are leading the sector and contributing, innovating, and supporting us. Mercy McKinnon is a coach that I've worked with who really helped me when I was upgrading my credential. And I found her just amazing, and I'm so grateful to her for her guidance of my observed practice and highly recommend her to you. I'm not being paid to do this. She's just someone that I'm very grateful to and therefore want to recommend to you. Hey, remember that there are free tools on my site that you can download. You don't have to register or sign up or give information, but please do like the video and give me a comment and subscribe to my channel, because it helps me to feel like what I'm doing is actually adding value to people's lives. And today, the free tool to download is this values comparison tool that I'm going to introduce and show you how to use in this session. So in this session, I'm going to introduce one way to coach the origin story, and at the end of the session, you'll have a practical demonstration of how to work with values to help clients move forward into the future in a positive way. So remember that Carl presented with a set of sort of disparities in his thinking, in his feeling, and that's causing problems in his body and then problems in the way he behaves that he wants to change. And basically he's not happy, he wants to be gentle, and he wants to be happy with himself. The core competencies from the International Coaching Federation we're working with here, the one in particular is coaching presence. So being confident, working with strong emotions, and being able to self-manage, especially when you feel overwhelmed or overpowered by emotion, and not getting enmeshed with that emotion with the client. In particular with the origin story, not getting stuck in the misery and not getting stuck in the past. And the other thing I just want to point out, that in creating awareness, this word background, which you sort of can't see because my big head is in the way, basically indicates that it's actually okay with the ICF to work with the origin story. It's just that you don't want to stay there. And so I found that really encouraging, seeing that in the competencies. And so in these sessions with Carl, or in this session, because he's very smart, and lots of our clients are very intelligent people, they can see the incongruity in the way they're thinking and the way that they're feeling. And so what they tend to do, and again, get my big head out of the way, is they tend to then, at least some of them, will try to explain why. Why is this disparity happening in the way I'm thinking and feeling, and that you can see as my coach, and and so what sometimes they do is they will tell an origin story. An origin story can be a story where the client has been hurt, and so and that has caused them to feel a bit out of control and flooded and overwhelmed. And in Carl's version of his origin story, he describes a father who gets really angry and humiliates him in public. So whenever Carl comes up against a challenge as a child, as a young man, right up into his late teens, he gets humiliated. And what that has left in him is feeling that when he comes up against something, a deadline or missing a deadline, or there's some sort of problem, he can't go inside himself to get what he needs, and he can't use other people to get what he needs. That's how he feels. And so working with the origin story, one of the key questions is, how do I know when I need to refer a client when they're presenting an origin story? And the way I do that is when they keep returning to the origin story themselves, and when they've said there's a lot of emotion around it. And what that tells me is this person needs to move more slowly, and they need to work with a psychologist and sometimes a psychiatrist to be able to assist them, and then I will make that referral. But in Carl's case, that wasn't necessary. He was ready to move positively forward, and we agreed to try a values exercise to help him do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a plan of action and step into the emotion diary, which I'm going to introduce in the next episode. But first of all, we're going to talk about the origin story and how to use it. So this is a comparison tool that aims to compare the values demonstrated in Carl's origin story with the values that he wishes to commit himself to today. So on the left-hand side, he lists the values in that story and in the hurt, and the values he wants to embrace. And you can see that what we're doing by introducing an exercise is not getting hooked by the client's description, not getting hooked in the misery of the story, and helping the client to take positive action. Well, Carl does this beautifully. A comparison between the values in his story and the values he wants to commit to show this very opposite set of values that he wants to embrace. The values in the origin story: okay to humiliate others, to embarrass them, to be angry, to hurt people, and loss of confidence is just the result of human interaction. And when I asked Carl to think about the opposite values and whether he wanted to embrace them, he just beautifully did this. He said, I want to help people feel safe when they're talking to me. I want that to be the result of my communication with them. I want people to have faith in themselves at the end of our discussions. I want to be gentle with myself and others. I am committed to non-violent living. I really love this statement. And I will communicate in ways that build self-esteem and confidence in myself and in other people. Just so beautiful. And so you can download this tool right now, and what you'll see is here's the values comparator, here's Carl's example, so you can see the example, and here down the bottom, step 3 is a set of questions that you can use if you want to ask your clients. For Carl, this was powerful because he really developed a deep commitment to not giving in to the values in the origin story and acting on them, instead embracing values, new values, and heading to his true north, which is gentleness and support for himself and others, which is just lovely. So he got highly motivated from this story. Now, in the next episode, I'm going to talk about working with an emotion diary to be able to collect data on Carl's emotional process. See you in a minute.